Hey friends, this is Karen from Blue Rooster Farm. Today we are in the kitchen getting ready to make something with this chicken. It is a family favorite. In fact, I'm making it for my son and my husband's birthday. We're celebrating this weekend. It is a food that we often request as a birthday meal. So if you're interested in what we're going to do with this chicken, stay tuned and I'll be right back. Welcome back, friends. Thanks for sticking around. Well, I've got my chicken, and you know what we're going to be making? We are going to be making some sweet and sour chicken that's baked in the oven. This stuff is delicious. Okay, so the recipe that I'm going to share at the end of this video is for, I believe, three to four chicken breasts. And since we like to make a large batch and then eat on it for a couple of days, and this probably will be eaten today, and then also I'll let the boys, our sons who are just here for the weekend, take it back to their place and have it. It also freezes very well after it's cooked. We've done that before too. So this recipe is for 3 to 4 boneless chicken breasts. I've got about 8 chicken breasts in here. So I'm basically doubling the recipe. But as I'm giving ingredients and things for the sauce, I'm going to give you the regular single recipe amounts, but you'll see me pouring in a little more. On the sauce, and I'll talk about this a little later, we really love the sweet and sour sauce. In fact, if you just make a single batch of it, it's a little drier. So we always double the recipe for the sweet and sour sauce, regardless if we're doing 3 or 4 chicken breasts or, just all of these. We will double the amount for 3 or 4 chicken breasts. So let me show you how I do this. First of all, you need to cut up your chicken. And I've had this chicken soaking in salt water all morning, and that just helps make it tender, and flavor it. It was just a salt brine. What we're going to do is we're going to cut these into about, let me see. You want to do big enough pieces where they don't dry out, but you want them to be small enough so they don't get, they're not too big on your plate. So here's the size. I don't know if you can see how big that would be. This one right here looks like it's about 2 by 1. 2-inch, 1.5-inch cubes, something like that. But I just take, and let's see if you can see, I just take and slice or cut the chicken breasts, and then I do 1 or 2 or 2 or 3 pieces after that. And again, it'll take a little longer to cook if they're bigger, but if you like them bigger chunks, that's fine. So I'm going to go through and chop these. I'll just make the video go fast, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what the next step is. All right, so I have all my chicken cut up into the cubes. And again, size. And I'm going to put those back in this bowl. I'm going to rinse it out. And remember, when you're working with raw chicken, be careful what you're touching, and don't cross-contaminate some of your ingredients if they're ingredients that don't get cooked. And be sure you clean like your cutting board, your bowls, and everything really good afterwards. So I'm going to put this in the sink. All right, so we've got these all cut up. Now the next thing you're going to do, it says to dip your chicken into an egg wash and then put it into a cornstarch flour mixture. So instead of dipping my chicken, I'm just going to add eggs and mix this all together and have them in the egg and save from getting another dish dirty. Okay, so let's see how many eggs. It calls for 2 eggs to be mixed with the 3 to 4 boneless chicken. So I'm going to add 4 since I'm doubling it, but the recipe calls for 2 eggs for 3 to 4 boneless chickens. I'm going to put them all kind of in one spot, and then I'm going to break them with my fingers. And if you don't like the feel of this, you can use a fork. You can beat them in a little bowl before you add them. That's all fine. Okay. And so my eggs are down here, and I'm just going to take my hands and just break those yolks. Give them a little whisk. Then I'm going to coat the chicken and rub that chicken all around in there. You can see what I'm doing. Now at this point, if you hadn't added any salt, if you hadn't had your chicken soaking in salt water, which is fine, that's just the way I do it, you could add a little bit of salt to this. That would be fine. But I've got the salt already in there. Now I can add some pepper to this, and I think I will. No, actually, I think I'm going to add the pepper to my dry ingredients. So I'm going to just let this set for a minute while we get our dry ingredients, what we're going to be dipping it in. Now, for the coating, we're going to take 1 cup of cornstarch, and we're going to add, if you want to add salt and pepper to the coating, that's fine. I like to add a little garlic powder with mine too. And I'm just going to dip them in there. And then I'm going to lay them out on a plate or in a pan, because we're going to pan fry them a little bit to get the coating a little crispy before we put them in the oven. So let me mix up what I need. After putting all the dry ingredients in a pan so we could dip the chicken, I decided to change gears since we had so much chicken to dip and do the dry ingredients in a Ziploc bag. I've got a gallon-sized Ziploc bag, and then put the chicken in small batches in that, and then shake the chicken around, and then place the chicken into another pan to await frying. And I'm going to add another big spoonful, and this is just the 3rd cup, just to give it enough in there. A little pepper and some garlic powder. Pick it up, and now we're going to put, again, just drop them in there. I try to drop them right onto the cornstarch so it doesn't get the sides wet. It's going to get them wet eventually, but that way it'll keep it from getting too much. Okay, and I'm going to get me a paper towel to keep wiping my hand on. All right, so then we're going to close this up, leave a little air in it, give it a good shake. And then pull those out. Shake off the excess. Just like this. Okay, and they're nice and powdery. Okay, and I'm just going to keep doing that until it's done. Okay, friends, so for the rest of this video, I'm going to have to do a voiceover. Somewhere between turning on and off the camera, my microphone was turned off, and so I did not realize it, and so the rest of this video, I will be walking you through each of these steps as we watch the video. So we're making the sauce now. We've got all of the chicken coated. And now we're going to make the sweet and sour sauce. And I'll give you the recipe for a single batch. Right there I have sugar and brown sugar. For a single batch, it calls for half a cup of white sugar and 1/4 of a cup of brown sugar. Then we need some ketchup, and I'm just using some homemade ketchup there. That's why it looks different. And you're going to need 4 tablespoons of ketchup, which is a 1/4 cup. And I'm just measuring it out there, and then we're going to pour it into the sugar that's in the bowl there. I'm now going to add 1 tablespoon of soy sauce for a single batch, and I'm just mixing it in my ketchup container to rinse that extra ketchup out of there. And then we're going to add a half a cup of vinegar. Now you can add white vinegar, apple cider vinegar, any kind of a wine vinegar would be fine. And the final ingredient would be a teaspoon of garlic powder. And you can add additional salt here if you did not have salt in your seasonings on your coating. And you could also add additional pepper if you'd like. Now, we're going to just mix up this all together. It's just going to be a kind of a watery mixture, but it's going to thicken when it's cooking with the chicken. I highly recommend that you go ahead and double the sauce to go with your single batch of chicken, especially if you love sweet and sour sauce. If you have rice as the side, it'll help flavor the rice too. I know everyone in the family really likes the sweet and sour sauce, and so we always double it. We're going to set the sauce aside now, and we are going to go over to the stove and we are going to fry the chicken. Now remember, we are not cooking the chicken, we are just getting the chicken so that it is crispy on the outside. I have added a little oil to my pan, about 1/2 inch of oil, and you can use any kind of oil that you like to fry in. I'm frying in a vegetable oil. And then I'm going to put my heat on a medium-high heat because we're going to be putting the cold chicken in, and it will cool the oil down, and we're going to be doing several of those batches. And so I found that keeping it at a pretty high temperature kept the chicken from absorbing too much oil and frying quickly. So here's the pan that has all of our dipped chicken. You can at this point sprinkle a little more of the cornstarch on the chicken if it has either absorbed all of it or did not have any coating in a few spots. So here I've let the oil get hot. I'm dropping in a couple of drops of water to test it, and it looks like it is splattering, so it's hot. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill that pan with several pieces of chicken, but not overcrowding them. And we are not going to cook them for very long at all, just get them nicely, lightly browned. And then we're going to flip them, and then we're going to take them out of the pan and drain them on paper towels, and just do another batch after that. So we're going to go through this process at fast speed, and remember to keep your oil hot. If you've run out of oil or if it starts getting low, add more oil, but be sure you heat it up before you add more chicken. You should only be cooking each side about 2 minutes. You're not cooking it all the way through. When you take it out, set it on paper towel, add some more, and keep doing this until all of the chicken has been fried and is lightly brown and crispy. The chicken is now all cooked, and we're just going to take the paper towels out of the roasting sheet. Move the oil off the burner. And we just did this to save from having more dishes. We just absorb the oil in the same pan that we are going to be cooking in. Now, if you do a single batch, all you need is a 13 by 9 inch metal cake pan, and that will be fine. Since this is so much chicken, I've got a big roasting pan. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get our sweet and sour sauce that we had mixed together a while ago, and we are going to pour it over the entire pan of chicken and make sure that all the chicken is well coated. You are going to be baking this for 1 hour in a 325-degree Fahrenheit oven. And every 15 minutes or so, you are going to need to go in and stir the chicken and mix it around so that the sauce is absorbed and that you're not getting any burn spots around the pan. Here is our sweet and sour chicken. After being in the oven for 1 hour, it is completely cooked. The chicken meat is very tender. It is smelling absolutely wonderful at this point. You can see there's not a lot of sauce on there, so that's why I really recommend adding a double amount of the sauce. This is wonderful served with rice and a stir-fry vegetable, crab rangoon, egg rolls. All of those are delicious with this. I think once you make this for your family, they're going to be requesting it on a regular basis, just like my family does. And I really recommend making a large batch because it freezes really well, or you can eat on it for several days. I hope this recipe is something that you want to try. It is oven-baked, sweet and sour chicken. If you're enjoying my videos and you want to see more, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate that. Thanks, and have a great week.